And good afternoon. I am Dr. Kimberly Kennedy Barrington, and I am the founder and CEO of 100 Shades of Diversibility, where we improve the quality of life for persons who are diversely able, legislatively, economically, through community partnerships and education. I am so excited to be able to, work on our legislative piece and expand it. And we have come up with when women step up, especially those who have stepped up in politics. Um, you know, we were one of the groups of people who were not able to vote. And so when I see all of these women who are choosing to run for, in politics, it's amazing where we have come. And so, hi, how are you?
Hello, I'm great. How are you?
I'm doing well. So today our guest is Dr. Gena Ross. She is out of Missouri. She is on the road right now and she's in St. Louis. Oh, wow. So we are so grateful that she took time off of the road just to have this conversation with us. And I'm really excited because we actually have a history. We met back in 2019 and we just kind of have hung in there together. We were a part of the Business and Professional Women's Federation, which is in the women's department of the National Church of the Churches of God in Christ. They are more than 6 million members strong. I think they're almost 7 million members. I mean, I think they really are at seven. They're kind of like McDonald's. They're everywhere, and you see those them Kojic arches, and I love the fact that the church has a separate department and says, you know what, women are just so multifaceted that they're just not mothers, they're just not, a deaconess or just someone who can babysit, but that they're actually out there in the business world making money, making moves. And you are definitely one of those persons. And
Thank
she's
you for
just
having
smiling
me
so
today.
pretty.
It's confusing. So I missed the because it just froze. It might be on my
Oh,
end. I'm sorry.
yeah. You were frozen just a little bit, but just talking about how
Okay.
you are so multifaceted. And in 2020, you ran for the Congressional, I want to say 6th district, and you won
That's
your
correct.
primary.
I did. To God
Um,
be the glory.
but the piece that is so interesting to me is that it was in the midst of COVID. How did you campaign in the middle of a lockdown and win a primary? I mean, I'm sure that all the people now, okay, the primary is over. And so everybody's like, who, either they won or they lost. And, those that lost are sitting back, okay, let me stop and think about this one. But you won a primary in the midst of a national lockdown. How did that happen?
It was God. It was a miracle, to be honest with you, because half the time I was in the hospital or recovering from COVID because I had got COVID on the campaign trail. So when I rent, I would go on Facebook, go on Twitter, Instagram, and just talk to people. And then when I was able to be around my daughter, then we started making TikToks and
Oh
reach
my
out to
goodness.
people a little stronger and a little bit better. I started going on out on the campaign trail a little bit, but wearing my mask. I try to connect and bond with people wherever, however I could, but making sure that I kept myself safe.
And I think that ooh, with all of the misinformation concerning COVID, how did your constituents, respond to that?
Well, I'll tell you, some of my opponents told me that I needed to drop out the race because I would never win because I didn't have any money. I wasn't raising any money. I didn't go door to door. I didn't do any of that. Like I said, use social media. But my constituents, I would meet via Zoom, and make videos and send videos to districts that ask for them. And I would do mailings, like not the bulk mailings, but the parties or the counties that ask for my flyers, I put them in the mail and mail it to them. So I did. I kept in touch. I write letters, and whoever would ask me questions on my website, I responded to everybody myself individually to give that personal touch, that connection.
And I think that that's what's missing, you know, as a person who is diversely able, what they have as a list of must do's, and this is how you win. Um, the first thing I thought about was, well, guess what? Dr. Gena did this in the middle of COVID. So there has to be something that works. And when you look at it in hindsight, you were able to take that to 2022 and run again. And what do you think the difference was between 2020 and 2022?
Well, I had more liberty to go out more because I felt better, after being a long hauler. And I just pushed, and a lot of people already knew who I was, but a lot still did not, because now from a district, it's the whole entire state of Missouri. But I was invited to forums, and I would attend those forums. And again, I made my own website, and people respond to me. I mean, they would reach out to me. I would take the time and respond to them and ask them, answer their question, not just give them a generic answer, but I would literally talk back.
We had no volume. We can't hear you. No. No. Are you on mute? Are you on do not disturb? We have no volume. I'm going to pop you out and then pop you back in. How'd that work? Maybe turn your volume up. I hear a little bit. If you could turn it up a little bit. No. Well, while she's doing that, I want to say thank you so much for tuning into When Women Step Up, a discussion of leadership, service, and purpose. Today, as our guest is Dr. Gena Ross, and she is from Missouri. She is traveling right now and is in St. Louis. And so we want to say thank you. And to all of those who have tuned in, please watch the replay if you don't have time. And make sure that if you are watching this on YouTube, to like, share, and subscribe. Yes, 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 yes. And so while we wait for her to change our devices, if you are not registered to vote, please make sure that you do so. Please make sure that you do so before the general election. You still have time. And just an FYI, if you are a Democrat and you get a straight ticket in the primary, you may now, when you get to the general election, if you would like to split your ticket, you may. And if you are a Republican and you voted all Republican during the primary, that when you get to the general election, and if your person did not make it through the primary, look around and see if there's a Democrat that fits your values. All righty. Thank you so much. We're back. We're in there.
Can you hear me now?
Oh my gosh, it's perfect.
Okay.
So, righty. So we're going to go back a little bit so that we can capture what you did. One of the things that you said was in 2020, you could not get out and campaign because we were on a national lockdown, and yet you won the primary, and you used some of that moving forward into 2022 to run again. And what do you think the difference was um, the first time in 2020 versus 2022?
Well, the first time running for Congress, I won the primary with 88 cents in my Congress checking account. So I had a little bit more money this time, not a whole lot, but I had probably a little under 10,000 or maybe a little over 10,000, but not much compared to my opponents. Like I had billionaires and millionaires, but I took fifth in the top five out of 11 candidates. So I just remained myself. I just stay true to myself, and I just stay true to God.
I think that's so important. This being your second time, and there, I guess, okay, I'm just going to be myself. I just have to say this out loud. You try to figure out what is the magic in it, and obviously it's not what everybody thinks. Everybody says, well, if you don't do door knocking, then you can't win the primary. Well, you prove people wrong because you didn't do the door knocking in 2020 and yet you won your primary. And they said, okay, well, you have to raise. So this is my observation. If you are running for a state house, such as a state representative, the average amount that they're raising is anywhere between $35,000 and $50,000. And they're saying, hey, you know what? If you don't raise that money, you can't be elected. Well, you didn't raise that money and you still won. And then if you are running for state senate, you need to raise anywhere between $50,000 and $100,000. Well, you didn't raise that either, and you still won. And then it says if you are running for Congress to be a state congressional, um, well, that's anywhere between $100,000 any up to $1 million,
Mhm.
and you didn't do that. And in 2020, you still won. In 2022, you still came in. I mean, you were 5 out of 11, which is phenomenal, you know. And they say that, well, if you don't raise all this money, that means that the voters don't believe in you. Well, somebody believed in you in 2020, and somebody believed in you in 2022. And maybe it is that people are just, they're not deadbeat. You're not deadbeat, but maybe they're just dead broke. That they just don't have the extra money to be able to give, but it doesn't mean that they don't believe in you.
Exactly. And I really didn't ask people for money this campaign. I did not. I had my link posted and other people would ask for me. Whoever wanted to give, I let them give. I didn't pressure nobody because I feel like this. If you want change, then you're going to help be a part of that change. You can't put it all on the candidate, you know? And, I did have people tell me, well, you have to do it this way. You have to do it this way. You have to do it this way. And if you don't want to do it the way they tell you, because they're used to doing it the way it's always been, then they won't fool with you. But that's okay because I'm not going to do it your way. I'm like I always said, I'm unbossed. Like Shirley Chisholm would say, I'm unbossed and I'm unbought. And I'm not biased. And I'm not going to let you run my campaign. And I made several statements this past campaign that if you want a candidate that you want to control, then I'm not the one for you. There's 10 more that you can choose. Or what you can do is, because a lot of people put candidates down when you don't do what they want you to do. I
Mhm.
You put your name on the ballot and you run, then you can have your own platform and do everything else. I said, don't sit on the sidelines and run your mouth and talk about candidates, but you're not doing nothing. What have you done? If you're not doing anything, then put up or shut up. Don't condemn us that are being about the change, being what we want to see, trying to make that difference. If we're bold enough and brave enough to put ourselves out there where everybody's trying to be in your business, like I have people tell me they try to look for dirt on me, but the only thing they can find is church services. Well, to God be the glory. Hope you get saved.
I love it. I love it.
I just say what I'm just me. I'm not going to change for nobody, and if it was something that was for all people, I'm for it. But if it's people trying to pull you in clicks to make you stick with this one point that isn't for everybody else, I'm not going for it. I ran for the people. I ran for change. I didn't run for fortune, fame, or power. I already know who I am. That's why I know you'll be a beautiful candidate. I can't wait to see you win.
Oh, thank you. So, just disclaimer, I am running, and I am in an all Republican district, just as you are.
Oh,
And I tell the people that when life hits, it doesn't ask you if you're red or blue.
no, it
You
does.
know, so it's when I look at, I met a young man on the day that I made the decision to run. I met with the chair of the Kent County Dems, and there was a young man who was, ear hustling a little bit. And, as I sat there and I ate my breakfast after, the chair left, and he came up and he says, "Hey, can I talk to you?" I said, "Absolutely." He says, "I listen to you, and I'm a Republican, have been all my life, but I noticed that we share some of the same values." And I said, "We do. Your values are not tied to a party.
Exactly.
That the average person that I know, they when they wake up in the morning, they want to feel good about themselves. They want to know that they have a place to live, that they have food in their belly, and that I have a job that will provide for my family, and we can make a life together. I want to be married. I want to be loved, cared for, go to church, and hang out with some friends and make a few memories."
Right.
And that has absolutely nothing to do if whether you are red or blue. And what I think is really amazing, as I was going through this process, and you have to fill out the questionnaire for Ballotopia, and it says, who do you admire, in the political world? And one person that I have always truly, truly admired has been Condoleezza Rice. And when I decided to, I was doing some research on her, and I found out that her dad was always Republican because the Republican Party allowed him to vote in a segregated South. They lived in the South, and Black people could not vote, women could not vote at that time, and the Republican Party allowed him to vote. And I was like, they don't talk about that. They want to make the parties be Black and white, where all white people are Republicans and all Black people are Democrats, which is not true. And
Uh,
I found out that, Condoleezza went to college, and when she made the decision of what political party, she actually started out as a Democrat. Her dad supported her, loved her, and was like, okay, that's fine. And she was a Democrat until Jimmy Carter. And there were some policies he had that she didn't like, and she knew she wanted to do more, and she felt she could do that better as a Republican, and she changed parties. And I admire that.
well, you can change parties. I mean, because everybody has a little bit of each in all of them. Everybody doesn't
I
believe
think that they do.
on all the things, but they want to lie to themselves. That's why I say be politically mature. You want to sit there and try to con yourself to believe something because you've always done this way. But if someone's not going to represent you at all, or half represent you, or not meet your needs, why would you continue to vote for them? That's what I call
Right.
insanity. Any sense? You're voting against yourself and your future. So
Yeah.
it's keep doing that. But some people are just so stuck. But I always say business as usual is no longer acceptable. And I teach American government too. And my students, I try to see where they are, because at first they weren't interested at all in none of it. But when they see that they do have a voice, because a lot of young people, even older people now, they just gave up hope. They're like, it doesn't matter. They feel like everything is fixed by telling you the future. So you can help pave the way for change. You don't have to, when you go into that ballot box, to the poll, no one knows who voted but you. You don't have to tell nobody's business. It's just you and them borders between you, and check your box. You ain't got to say, so no one would know. That's your right. And that's your business.
And you can still come out and say, hey, I'm a Republican, even if you voted for me. I'm just saying.
Going to represent you. Who's going to help you? Who has the values and the morals that you have, that you believe? So that's why I said you could run as an independent. And I would tell people, because they're like, well, are you a real Democrat? I'm like, I could run on any ticket I want to. I'm not going to let the Democrat define me. I'm still me no matter what. So you're not going to hold me to no Democrat. Someone told me my website looked like a GOP. You can have it be whatever you want it to be, but it's me. Just because I don't have everything on my platform that you think I should have on there. Again, it's my platform. When I'm the candidate and I'm running, then hey, It's up to me.
I think you bring up um, a very important point, and I'm going to ask the question outright. Do you think that your boldness comes from your color or your personal belief?
My boldness comes from my mother, my personal belief, and just my DNA, who I am. It's Gena. And a lot of times I'm silent. I'm just watching. I observe. But you get up under my skin, or I know that something needs to be said where everybody else is quiet. I'm gonna speak on it, whether you like it or not. I'm not trying to be nobody's friend. But I'm trying to get a job done. When it comes down to business and taking care of it, that's what it is. I like to joke around and play and all that, but when it's time to take care of business,
Mhm.
care of it. And if I need to pound it, I'm going to say whatever it is, even if I'm the only one standing. But God, He gives me strength, cry loud and spare not. That it's who I am, my religion, my mama. It's a whole combination. But
It's a whole combination. Um, I think that for me, when I think about my forefathers, that we weren't allowed to read, we couldn't even speak in public. We had to look at the ground. We couldn't even look anyone eye to eye.
that's
You
what it.
know, I am excited to look at you eye to eye. I love my new chair. Yeah, sometimes I got to toot my own horn. I'm just saying, that I can come up eye level. I believe that there just comes a time in life where people just don't get the opportunity to look down on you because of your race, your religion, your beliefs, and how you operate in the world, whether it's who you love or that, like me, I come with wheels. I think that walking is antiquated now. Like, who wants to just walk around? Just like, oh, that's so antiquated. You still walking, child? They got the cute little roller things. My grandson keeps asking for one. One of my grandsons has it. And I'm just like, okay, come on, guys. Where you just get on the little board and it just goes, you know. So even kids have figured out that, walking is just, who wants to do all this? But I'm glad that you found your purpose, because one of the things that I have learned is, in fact, from General Board Member, and may he rest in power, Bishop Wells mentored me, and he would always say, we have to talk to the total man, you know.
Exactly.
And I loved his philosophy of the total man. And I would always tell him, I think that you're a businessman who just happens to be a preacher, not a preacher who just happens to know business. But I think that he was a businessman, and he was so multifaceted that he encompassed everything, that you can't just be what the old folks say, you can't be so heaven bound that you know earthly good. That the only way that we're going to make change is if that we become the change that we want to see. And so when I see women like you who have made the decision, look, I'm gonna step up no matter what it costs. I think that we should win just because of that.
Well, this is you know what we do win. I would say, from what my pastor would say, your win doesn't have to look like anybody else's win.
No,
I win no matter what, because I tried and I did this. Some people will sit back and look at and be like, "Well, she ain't doing nothing. She didn't do nothing." But what are you doing? What are you doing?
nothing, nothing. At least I had the personal bravery and courage to say, I don't like what I see. I think that this needs to be different. And so, do I have the ability to affect change?
You do.
And I do. So that's what I'm going to do. And I think that it was ingrained in me from birth. But the fact that 17 years old, what 17-year-old says, you know what, I think the world needs to change. And the way that I know I can do it is I'm going to join the military. And so, bam, I joined the Navy at 17. I leave on my 18th birthday.
Mhm.
Who thinks about that? Everybody else is thinking about college, hanging out. Me, no, I'm gonna figure out how to change the world.
And I just always fought for everybody.
Yep.
Not, I mean, but if I had to, I would. But I did sometimes. But I would advocate for people. If someone needed help, I'm gonna be that voice for you. Some people don't know how to speak out for themselves, or they're afraid. I'm not afraid. If I know so, shit, I'm gonna say something. If you see something, say something. That's what the problem is now. And even with my degrees, when I was studying public policy and administration, we all always talked about whistleblowers. People are not blowing the whistle. They're not holding elected officials in place right now. They're not holding them accountable. And that's why we have so much corruption and everything else. They act like they're scared to say something, or they're part of the corruption. So we do change, and you need to call it out.
And that's true. And it was so, you say that, but we call it NIS in the military. And everybody would always say, I know you in a NIS. I know you a plant. I don't know how you got in here, but we know that you have to be a plant. I said, I'm not, and when I fast forward and I think about that, and I said, wow, then I guess I've always stood for that which is right. I've always, said, okay, I'm gonna look out for the underdog. Oh, that's not right. And I will say something.
Right.
I don't need you to be my friend.
No.
And if you don't give me, I don't need you to pay me. Because I think personally that if you run, I don't think that we should ask them for money. I don't think that we should ask the constituents for money. And I don't think that their money necessarily buys the support that we're looking for. You know what I mean? I feel like if you give me money, then that means that you can call me and tell me what to do, and then I'm supposed to do it. So if John gives me, so what the limit is, 1,050. So if John gives me 1,050, his, voice and his things that he wants is going to take precedence over the person who can only give me $5. And I don't think that's right. That's just me personally.
It's not right.
As people are watching this video, yep, I have to ask you for money because that's what they say I have to do. And if I don't, they're going to make it public. And, because at first I said, wait a minute, that's shameful. So you're going to shame people that have only raised $5,000 compared to those who raised $50,000. And, yeah, they're going to win. Well, I saw one person had raised $120,000.
Still lost.
They loaned their campaign $181,000, and they have it sitting there to show that, yeah, we got $180,000, and that person lost. So I'm like,
they forget they got to live after the campaign.
I'm like, wait a minute. So what? First of all, if all the people who gave you the $120,000, they don't get to get their money back. But I tell you, if they had ordered a movie on Prime Video and it didn't come through, they're gonna call Prime Video and say, "Can I get my money back?" Because that's what I'm looking at now. If you've raised this $120,000 and you don't win, how does that make the constituents feel? Does anybody ever stop and think about that? Because that's the stuff I think about.
Because that dropped out after he raised so much money, and I was reading people's tweets, and they're like, well, I gave money to you and then you dropped out the race and endorsed the billionaire. People are upset, but it was reported to me that people keep that money, they open up another PAC and stuff, and they be pocketing that money. I ain't stupid. It's not.
Yeah, so this is real talk today. But I think these are things that I think about. Number one, why are you even running? And people have their wonderful flowery type of reasons, and some of them are rehearsed. But this is something, my dad said, look, may the Lord rest him, he's rested in power as well. We can only do so much at the grassroots level. Then the next level is there needs to be some policy changes. We need some legislation, and we need some House bills. And so we need somebody in office, because that's what true democracy was supposed to be, is that everybody can't be in Lansing, everybody can't be in Washington. And so we have to, as the people, choose the person who is going to work on our behalf, and we're not paying them, because we can't be everybody's little puppet. Well, you know what, this again, I go back to, if John gives 100,000, well, no, he can't give that much. They can only give 1,050. So if he gives 1,050 and I can only give $5, does that mean that I can't have my voice heard? Because oh, Dr. Kim is just going to look down that list and let's see who gave the most. And when she gets to Lansing, she's going to call that person and say, hey, so what you need done today? Oh, you need some contracts? Oh, we can get that done. No.
I have one give $1 every month through Act Blue. And I appreciate that dollar like it was a million, because it might have been their all, just like the widow that had just one mite.
Yes.
For change, that's what matters to me, is trying to make sure that you make everybody feel important, everybody heard, nobody left behind. And even when you go out amongst different people, or even if you meet with them by Zoom or whatever, you have different audiences. So you need to meet people where they're at, and don't talk over them, talk to them and give them a chance to talk to you and listen to them. And that's what some elected politicians, they don't listen. They don't even want to hear you. Some of them don't even meet with you after you elect them. You put your whole heart and soul and gave your money to them, and then they're nowhere to be found until it's time to be elected again. Then you played yourself.
And then at the end of the day, we look and we say, why are we doing this?
I just wanted to be changed, see change. And I think that my light was to shine, just to let people see that you can run and be a person of integrity. You don't have to get in the middle of all the garbage and the chaos that is going on. Just be real. People want to see freshness, newness, and they believe in you when they know that you're real and you're transparent and you're not just trying to get over on them to get a vote. And I told my constituents, I will not lie to you to get a vote. I don't want it that bad. Now, I'm not going to lose my soul for no campaign.
I'm not, because at the end of the day, I won't be in this body forever. And I'm going to close my eyes. And when I wake up, dead in heaven, because we all got to go there first.
You want to hear well done, don't you?
I want to hear well done, thy good and faithful servant, that I made very good use of the time that I was put here on the earth, and I did all I could do for all the people, because God loves nothing more than his people.
Love thy neighbor as thyself. And I would say, and I truly mean it, from the rural to the suburban to the inner city.
Absolutely.
Nobody should be left behind.
I don't think so. And, being, having served in the military, that is what we say, there's no man left behind. We don't ever leave a soldier.
No.
Never. Either we die together or we survive together. And so I think that's the piece that, I'm bringing. I'm not leaving anybody behind. I started with the micro with myself, with self-advocating, having, had a massive stroke and other medical, issues. And then when I saw what I did for myself worked, I started telling other people, well, this is how you do it, and even the big systems, this is what you need to change in order to best serve us. And people listen, because I was there. What they say, the squeaky wheel gets the oil, or sometimes they just try to put you in the trash. Okay, well, I'm not having it. Okay?
Exactly.
That's not where I'm going, and I'm not going to go away. And this is what you need to do. And there are 100 people that are depending on you to make this change. And they're just like, oh, wow. Oh, okay. All right, let's see what we can do. All right, we got a comment here from all the way from California. Yes, meeting people were there. Thank you, Deborah Vick. Deborah is all the way in California, so we want to say thank you. And Pat earlier, she's down in Georgia. So I'm so excited. And if people don't know, 100 Shades of Diversibility is in all 50 states and is in 10 countries. So I get excited when people come in, and this is what it's about, is meeting the people where they are. I mean, I met her through social media, and it was just meeting her where she was. And wow, we've been friends now, about 2 or 3 years now, Deborah? And I appreciate her. That to me, true impact is when someone sees something that you're doing and they take the time to invest in you. She invested in me with sharing posts and telling other people about me. She even contributed to I can tell it because it's public. Yeah. She contributed to the campaign. And I said, wow, look at the ripples of advocacy that I'm doing that people outside of the state of Michigan said, you know what, I see what you're doing and I want to give. I have another friend who is in Washington, D.C., and she says, you know what, I'm going to give something $50. I know it's not a whole lot, but to me, it meant everything. And I'm not going to cry. Yes, I am.
It's a blessing.
It meant everything to me because the note that came with it is we can't eat, and it was so cute. And I'm going to repeat it the way she said it. She said, first of all, we can't even walk in your shoes and we can't even afford the shoes that you wear. And so it is so necessary that we invest in it because when you win, you are winning for all of us. And to see a black woman in a wheelchair saying that I want to help everybody, because the first thing people want to say is like, oh, I feel so sorry for you. You're in a wheelchair. And when I look at them, I'm sorry for you because you still walking around.
Like your circumstance did not change who you are.
It didn't.
We got
okay. Oh, we got some comments. Okay, here we go. She said, we are so excited. Oh, did I do it? Okay, there we go. There it is. Can I show it? It says, okay, let's see if we can. They're watching from the ATL.
Yeah.
Got it. We are so excited. Yes. She's known me for 2 years. And then she said, you pour into so many of us throughout the country and internationally. Thank you.
You share, you help. And that's why I endorsed you the other day.
But to me, if the people of the 79th district don't elect me, it does not change.
You still win.
I still have won.
Yes.
Because of the ripples that have gone out across these United States.
History. You are history. This is your story. Nobody can take it away from you. Nobody.
No. And the fact that you're in Missouri and you endorsed me. I look at people that are in other cities that have endorsed me and said, hey, you know what? I believe in you and we need you. And when elected, because I believe that God can supersede and change men's hearts. I mean, he knows how to touch the heart of the king.
Yes, he does.
And I will be the first female veteran on the legislative floor. This is 2022.
Yeah.
And they have never had a female as a legislator in the state of Michigan. And actually, they're power washing our condos today, and so they're cleaning my windows. I'm like, yeah, because they showed.
Don't forget that's
right there. And that's the piece that I look at. That I have never in the history seen a female in a wheelchair who's a veteran who said, okay, I'm going to do this. I actually looked up how many veterans there are that are serving across the United States. There were 76, and only 4 were female. And out of the female, so these are all veterans, and there's only 4 that are serving out of the 76. And not one of them was a woman of color.
If I would have won, I would have been the first in Missouri Black U.S. Senator and the 3rd woman ever U.S. Senator. But, I was told that Missouri didn't want no one my color anyways. So, but I kept going anyway. I ran anyway. I wasn't going to let it stop me.
Oh, thank you. She did nice things. Just an amen. And we're looking for you guys to be the change that we need in Washington. Absolutely. And there says, yes, you are victorious, a perfect example of love, compassion, and when we needed the tough love to get us moving. Yes, I probably, yep. We that's us, we will say things to say, hey, look, it's time to get moving. We got to do those things. And I don't have a problem with the difficult conversations because they need to be had. And I think the piece, for me, I want the people to know I can't be bought.
Yeah.
You know, I can't be bought. So you can trust me to be put in office because I can't be bought. I know why I'm there. I'm there to serve you. And my tagline is, I'm honored to serve the people. I started at 17 years old when I raised my right hand to defend the Constitution of the United States against all enemies, foreign and domestic. And so I just think that it's another extension of my service and my commitment to my country by wanting to run for office. And so just in that piece right there, I feel like a winner. I mean,
Are a winner, and I'm
I,
good at covering, and I'm a winner. I'm like by the rivers of water.
I'm excited just about the opportunity to serve, on a greater level. And then on yesterday, so this is what our state looks like. We're the mittens, so I'm over this way, and I had a state senator send me a card in the mail all the way. She's all the way in Detroit and said, "Congratulations on winning the primary. And if you need anything from me, please reach out to me." I cried. I did. I just sat there and I just said, wow, I don't know her. And obviously she knows of me, for her to send, because, I got excited because, it comes with the seal.
Mm-hmm.
It's got the congressional seal on it, so it's all official.
Yeah.
Because her official stationery, with a name on it. And I just was like, even me, Lord. Even me.
Even you.
Even me, Lord. Even
And purpose for your life and what's for you.
even me.
Uh-huh.
Even me, Lord. Even me. Even me. Even me.
Yeah.
Even me. That just even me.
Yep.
And so if the Lord chooses for me not to win the race, I feel that I have
You still won.
more than exceeded any expectation. And I believe that people all over these United States and in them other 9 countries, they saw it. It was out there. It was made public. It never goes away. And they will say, they'll wake up one day and say, you know what? I think that I want to drive a car. I'm 45 years old. I've never driven a car. But if that bald headed lady over there in Michigan has the guts and the courage to put herself out on Front Street in that wheelchair and say, I'm going to run as a state representative in a district that since 1965, when it was established, has been Republican, that she can face them and say, you know what? I think I'm going to learn how to drive today. Or maybe I might go skydiving. Whatever it is that held them back and they thought they couldn't do it. That's more than enough for me.
I believe in unlimited possibilities. The sky is the limit.
It's just because I sit here and I love it. Now I must be living real swanky. They coming to clean my windows and they power washing my condo. I'm just saying. So I don't need, I don't need the race to feel like I'm important, because I'm important already. I do enough in the community. I have a business that I love, that I'm helping people every single day. And what's so funny is that I help people all over the United States. I just helped somebody in Utah just the other day. And I live in Michigan.
Right.
So to me, that is rewarding. And the phone calls that I've received since, like, oh, well, I've always known about you, but it's like, oh, you're running. Can I call you? I got can you help? Absolutely. Absolutely. Right. So to me, it's about the people and making sure.
And that's the only reason I ran. It's about people. It's about people. I don't care what you look like, where you come from, who your mama, who your daddy is. If you're a human being,
I care about you.
All people And people want you sometimes to define people. I'm not defining you. If you're a person, all people means all people. I don't have to do all that.
You
All
know,
people. ALL.
in capital, bolded,
Capital A,
emphasized, you know,
capital
just,
all.
and I think for me, I said to she did win the primary, and I said to her from day one, I saw her, we were both going to be interviewed for an endorsement. And I spoke to her, she was shocked. And I just said, she said, I heard that you were a really nice person. I said, I really am. I am a very nice person. Yeah, I'm a very nice person. And I said, but you step on my toes, I'm gonna roll over yours. And I mean that. I'm looking to run a clean campaign. Let's be honest. Let's be truthful. I'm not looking for dirt on you. I'm not. Because my daddy always told me what's done in the dark always comes to the light. My grandmother said whatever don't come out in the wash will come out in the rinse. So things will have a way of coming out. You don't have to go find it. And I feel like that is somebody who is immature and who is afraid of losing. And so they're becoming a bully. We are too old to be bullies at this point. Oh, wait a minute. We got a comment from my favorite, Dr. Ross. I have truly enjoyed your interview today, and I'm glad you decided to step up.
Thank you.
And that's my little pumpkin.
Thank you.
That's my little pumpkin. Oh, wait a minute. I think we got another comment here. It says, I have been changed already by seeing your push, your focus. You are a miracle, and you let us know that God is doing powerful things in those who are just willing. Thank you, Pat. That speaks volumes.
Yeah, God uses ordinary people.
To do some extraordinary things.
Exactly. All you gotta do is be willing and say yes.
And I'm willing. And I want to say thank you to my family for stepping up, because that's my twin. And then my daughter's on there, and Deborah Vick, that's my sister from another mister. So I'm just saying, I got white sisters too. Got some Hispanical ones, just everybody's my sister. I got some of the LGBTQ community. I love them all, because God does not sit and look and say, oh, I don't love you because you LGBTQ.
All people.
He just loves everybody. He really, really does. And I think that we need to stop. It's just not of God. It's not. And if you claim to be,
have I drawn thee? You just need to be kind. Like I said before, love thy neighbor as thyself. You can't hate nobody.
This is true.
Everybody's gonna have their own differences and disagree, or they're not gonna agree on everything. But what you need to do is respect one another.
That's it.
Everybody with dignity and respect. You don't have to agree. You don't have to ever like me, but you're gonna respect me.
That's it.
For some reason.
Because I earned every bit of that DR period in front of my name.
Sure enough.
I earned every bit of it.
I did it as a single mom. Some people still want to just try to water you down. It's not that I'm haughty about anything, but if they knew my story, if they knew what I've been through, see,
Sure.
I moved to Missouri. It's because I left my ex-husband that just wasn't kind. And he told me if I left, I would never be nothing. I would never have anything. I would never have more than him. But I am in the show me states, like how you like me now. The 3 children are grown now. I done ran for U.S. Congress, ran for U.S. Senate. When I moved, I got that master's degree. I had just finished my bachelor's degree when I left. And then I moved here, got my master's, and then got my PhD, a lot of certificates, and I'm an associate professor. So when people speak negativity on you, you just tell the devil he's a liar.
Are you about to make me about to play some Shaw music? Woo! I feel it all up down, all up in here. Because that's how I feel. I got my sword up there. I haven't put everything else, because we talked about this the other day, and yeah, I got to get everything is sitting right next to me in a box while I'm telling you to put your stuff up. I have my sword up right behind me, and I'm so proud of it, because when I got my second doctoral degree, I got it in disability studies and universal access. And when people think about universal access, they think like, oh, wow, okay, so you're talking about getting in buildings. No, I'm talking about universal access to life. You don't realize there are 1,683 words that begin with the prefix dis that everybody experiences at any given time that has nothing to do with the fact that I'm disabled in this wheelchair. And I want to, make sure that people are able to access life wherever they need to do it. And I believe I'm already sitting on the Michigan Council for Rehabilitative Services appointed by the governor, you know. And so I'm at a macro level. I am writing policies and procedures that do directly affect more than 3 million people in the state of Michigan. We have about 8.5 million people here. And so about a million point two are the person who's disabled. We were at another 35, maybe 40,000 with long haul COVID, persons being added to that number. And then if each one of them are attached to somebody, at least one or two people, that adds another 2 million people to the 1.5 that are in the disability community. So I said, okay, I can write some policies and procedures, but some things need to be changed legislatively. So it's like, okay, now I need to make, it wasn't so necessarily a lateral move, but more of an upward, I guess, laterally and upwardly move to affect change on a greater macro level. And then with having friends like you and Dr. Donna in Washington D.C., having friends like Deborah over in California, Pat who is in Georgia, to be able to say, okay, now this is how you do it. This is how you go to your legislators, or maybe you decide that you want to run, and then I can help you. So it definitely has a ripple effect. When there's a win here with one of us, it's a win everywhere for all of us.
Exactly. And that's what me and a few of my opponents, we all agreed with each other. If I win, I take you with me. If you win, you take me. That we made that pact with each other because it takes all of us to
It,
do.
it really does. And I tell people, they were upset. Some people had given money, others had not. Probably many of them had not, but they were willing to vote for me. And they were calling and saying, hey, we didn't see you on the ballot. Well, I'm not in your district. And I said, but I could tell you, for November, this is who you need to vote for. If you're Democrat, or this is who you need to vote for if you're Republican, because there are some Republicans, like the Republican that held this district prior to the redistricting. This was District 77, and he was a Republican. And guess what? There were many issues during the 6 years that he held this office that we talked, we got things done together. And, he sat on the Veterans Commission and he was the chairperson. So I would definitely tap into him and say, hey, if it were different, he's run out, hey, you need to vote for him because he supports veterans. And those are things that people need to look at. Is like, what do they stand for? What are they supporting? And it's not so much, as a political party, but what are the issues?
Right.
And so I definitely would say you need to vote for him. In the general election, you can vote split ticket. If he was on there, hey, I'm a veteran, I would tell you to vote for him.
Right. Right.
If you're voting Republican, that's what you need to do. And even if you're a Democrat, but we had a great person who was running as a Democrat in that same seat because he moved up to the Senate, the state Senate. And so the person that he went against was an incumbent, and she has done wonderful things for the LGBT community. She's done some awesome things for persons with disabilities. She has a brother. That's her connection to the disability community is for her brother. So she grew up with it. So it's like you really have to do your research and find out what does your candidate stand for? Not just say, okay, I'm going to give them money and they've been out there. No, if they are an incumbent, then you need to look at their record, see how they voted. What things did they stand for? We can't just blindly vote for people oh my God, yeah, they're Republican, they're the GOP, we're gonna do this. Or you
Right.
know what? I'm a Democrat, and born one, die one, like girl, like Baptist, Baptist bread, I'm gonna be Baptist dead.
Mhm.
So yeah, you keep being that way, and you're always gonna get what you've always had.
Yep. Yep. Yep.
So I just want you to know, I wanna ask you, can I use your intellectual property? And I would definitely give you, all the props that I like being a mature voter. That was just so prolific to me. Like, wow, no one ever attaches maturity to voting.
Yeah, because they don't vote mature.
Oh, yeah, you go to toe. And I think what's so funny, especially with some of the Trump endorsed, candidates, is that do you really realize what you're saying? That first of all, you want people to put you in office, which is a government office. You're governing people, and you're going to be passing legislation, and you don't like how somebody else is governing, so you're going to create this insurrection, which is a violent act. It's not a patriot act, it is a violent act against the very government that you want to get elected to. Help me make that make some sense.
Yeah.
Please help me. I mean, Dr. Gena, because maybe you didn't have your doctorate longer than I had my doctoral degree,
You got
and
it.
there's some things that you might have learned it that I didn't learn it, in my school. Maybe your school taught something different. So, could you shed a little light on
You see what I wrote you in the chat?
that? Can I read it up? Okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
So, but if you could just answer that question.
Repeat that one more time, please.
Okay, so the question is, how do you support a candidate that fights against the very government that they want to get elected to?
If they don't support, okay, my mind went somewhere else. If you can't support someone, well, you can support whoever you want to,
True.
but they don't believe or represent what you're going for or what you're willing to do for people. You just got to do what you're doing.
Well, do you have any final words to the people?
Keep hope alive. I believe in unlimited possibilities. Nothing's impossible. Um, and sorry if I just seem a little discombobulated on that last question because I'm pressed for time, and so that's what I'm sending her is that I'm out of time because
And so I want to say thank you. I appreciate you taking out the time, just to stop on by, and I'm going to say thank you for stepping up.
thank you for helping me and always being there for me. Thank you for
Thank
being a professional. We
I
care, there we help.
We do.
We do.
Thank you so much. And we want to say thank you so much for tuning into When Women Step Up, a discussion of leadership, service, and purpose. And we will be back here next week, same time, same station. And you guys stay safe and stay healthy. And don't forget to like, share, comment, and watch the replay. And we'll see you on next week. Thank you so much. Thank you, Dr. Gena.
For having me, and thank you for watching.